push recording. So thank you to everyone who's joining so far today. I am so excited and happy to present to you Annette Landman. She is an integrative medicine practitioner. She has incredible capabilities and knowledge and passion. And I'm very much looking forward to sharing with you her talk today on frequency medicine. I know we've been spending a little bit of time together over the past few weeks, and certainly she has opened up my mind and blown my mind on quite a few things. So just in any event, I would love to present to you Annette. Thank you, Annette, for being here today. I am so happy to have you here today and to also participate. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll pass it over to you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. You know, we're all locked up in our homes, and what are we going to do? So this is a great way to still get together. So I'll share a little bit about my background. I actually had to get really sick before I really dove into any medical education. I did have a bit of a background touching on the medical side, but I really, the last couple of years, I have done nothing but studying, learning, traveling the world, meeting with the best of the best in their field, training under them, learning from them, and to bring this knowledge, initially bring it to New Brunswick, initially bring it to a clinic. However, now realizing and looking around to where we're at all together, everybody's at home, learning in the last 6 months that what I do can very well be supported online as well. So I am still in the midst of my doctorate and PhD in integrative medicine and quantum science. I actually, these last few weeks have really worked for me because I was able to really put the last details into my dissertation. My dissertation has a name by now. His name's Daryl because he's been everywhere. He's been on vacation. He's traveled the world with me. Like, it's something you work on every day. It's a research project. It's so intense. And I am happy that it will be done within now and a few weeks. And I'm also kind of scared because what in the world am I going to do then? Because in the past 37 months, I can track my hours. I have spent 37 hours a week on studying, next to a full-time job, wow, next to a family, next to traveling, so that's going to be really strange, but I'm sure I'll find a way to feel that.
Yes, you will.
Yes. So I absolutely wanted to speak to everybody about energy medicine. What is it? Actually, everybody deals with it, although you don't realize. However, I also really wanted to touch on our coronavirus. So first, I have to share this disclaimer with everybody, and it's just the field I work in. I have to let everybody know I'm not an MD, so I'm not a medical doctor. And this is intended for information only. It's based on my views, and my opinions, and my research. I have not put this presentation in front of Health Canada or the FDA to have approval for it or have their feedback on it. So just, it's important for my licensing that I share that with you. So I'm gonna leave that right there. And a few things, like, why do people actually get sick? How come some people are more sick than other people? What I see daily in my clinic is many people, and especially women, live under a lot of stress. And stress, the frequency of stress really brings down your immune system. It is a vibration that, like, if we talk about energy, we have high vibrations that are really good for us. That's where we want to be. But the vibration of stress is a low vibration. So it's really not helping your immune system. It's really not assisting in your health. A lot of people have trauma. And trauma doesn't have to be physical trauma. Trauma that I often encounter in my clinic is emotional trauma, something that happened to you when you were younger. Um, Often I see with women in a chronic illness situation, I very, very often see that there's a violence, like violence happened in the past somewhere. It could be sexual violence, it could be physical violence, but there's somewhere in their past, there's this trauma where they basically shifted into fight or flight, and they got stuck there, and their whole being, the whole immune system is not working properly because it's kind of frozen. Some people are born with a weak constitution. I know I am. Yesterday, Dr. Jenna Weeks spoke about the MTHFR gene mutation. I actually have that, and I had absolutely no idea I had that. So when I got really sick, we needed to figure out why my body reacted the way I did and why I was as sick as I was, and why I basically was almost dying. And we discovered that I had the MTHFR gene mutation, and toxins were just piling up in my body, and my body was reacting, my immune system was reacting inappropriate. So it would only allow more and more toxins in, and it was not cleaning everything up. It was just, your bucket and the faucet is open, and we're not tossing anything out, we're just adding. With that, I had done a lot of traveling, and if you have heavy metals, you attract parasites as well, because the parasites love to live off of heavy metals. So your body is kind of allowing the parasites to live in your body, since they kind of try to help to clean up the heavy metals. So I had absolutely no sweet clue that I was dealing with that. But in my journey to better health, to healing, I started with all kinds of cleansing, and things got much better. Part of my heavy metal toxicity was due to amalgam fillings that I had, and it was due to 2 root canals that I had. And when I got my root canals in, I think I was 20 years old, and absolutely zero knowledge. Like, my dentist tells me that this is the best thing for me, so let's do this. Looking back, that's also where my migraines started. That's also where my sinus issues started. So already have a weaker constitution. I do things to my body that are really not helping me. So you get sicker and sicker. Nutrition wise, I grew up in a household where we ate meat every day. My father sold pesticides and herbicides, and that was just normal, right? They would never consider organic, and I think it wasn't even really a thing back then. I lived in a rural area, a lot of farming. So you have to assume that in the water table, so the water that you drink, there will be a lot of pesticides, herbicides, just stray chemicals. I had no idea. And of course, once you go, you leave home, you study. Young adults, they don't eat the best. I mean, let's be fair. We're not really aware. So yeah, I've done a lot of abuse to my body without really knowing that was the abuse. I got infections, inflammations, viruses, and bacteria that loved to live in my body because I didn't care for it the best. So there's way more things why people get sick, but I see this daily in my practice as something that if you hold the people against the light that get sick all the time, they mark many of these boxes. I would also like to share with you that the people who never get sick, it does not mean that they have a very strong immune system. Like, for example, if you get cancer means that your immune system does not work properly. It's a fact. So sometimes you hear people say, gosh, you know what? I have an uncle and he has never, ever, ever been sick. All of a sudden he got diagnosed with cancer. He passed away within months. Wow, he was such a healthy person. And you know what? And that is not true. His immune system was most likely compromised a long time ago, and it just stopped reacting. It just stopped giving you the messages. So I always tell my patients, let me know if you get a fever, because we're going to celebrate that, because it means that your immune system is actually doing again what it's designed for. And a lot of people are unaware how important it is to have a good working immune system. And if you never get sick, then your immune system is most likely not working properly. So touching on the coronavirus, who actually gets sick at the moment? It's interesting to see. We know that elderly people have not the best functioning immune system, and that is most likely why they are more susceptible to flus and, let's say, the COVID-19. There's a lot going on right now. So everybody's pretty much home. Very few are able or allowed to go to work. And if you follow the media all day, there's a lot of information out there about COVID-19. You have two choices. You can follow it all. You can follow into the fear. You can follow into the conspiracy theories. You can get paranoid. You can get angry. You can get confused. It's not helping. It's not doing anything for you. So when my clients ask me, what I kind of share with them is, let's focus on what you can do for you and your household. Because even if COVID-19 is a big conspiracy thing and it's created in a lab, even if that is true, are you and I going to fix that tomorrow? No, we're not. So what can we do? Where do we have control? Fear is a very low vibrating emotion. It's not helping your immune system. It's bringing your immune system down instead of building it up. So I really try to find solutions for them to get through the day. So what is it you can do? Well, meditation. Meditation is a fantastic tool. And I know, Catherine, you are a meditator. And I knew nothing about meditation until I got sick. And then my doctor was like, you know what? I would really like for you to meditate every day. And I was like, do what? I was like, I've got stuff to do. And he's like, no, you don't. And not right now. So it was a really interesting journey for me to understand what it is. I assumed I had to sit there and I just had to wait for the magic to happen. But that's not what it is. And it's been a really interesting journey to feel when I'm in the right spot with meditation. And there are tools to do this. For anybody who's at home, the tool that all of us have, because you guys are watching this right now, so you do have access to the internet. What you can do is you go on YouTube and you just Google for a guided meditation and you just follow that. And it gets you in the zone, it gets your brain to a level, and especially when you do this first thing in the morning, it builds a bunch of endorphins, it gets you in a happy place. All the fear that comes towards you during the day in regards to COVID will not affect you as much as if you don't meditate. It's just, it's almost like building a little wall early in the morning and stuff doesn't affect you so much. And it's amazing for healing, like doing meditation, it sets you up for some good healing energy and holding on to that. So that's a thing what all of us could do if we wanted to. If you want some control on this COVID thing, do it in the morning. Just get some guidance and just start. And even in the beginning, if you do feel like, oh, I could have been vacuuming right now, or I have more stuff to do, because that was me, that's okay. Just allow it. That's fine. So also all of us could really attempt to eat real nutrition. So get some vitamins, vitamin powders, things like that, that are nutrition based. Let's say pea protein powder. Get some real apples, get some oranges, get some spinach, make a smoothie out of it, add some coconut water, anything like that. Do that every morning. Take that every morning as a starter to get some real nutrition in your body. It has some really high vibrating frequencies because it's not dead food. We eat way too much dead food that has no frequency, and it will not build our body. So anything that's alive is what you want to eat. So focus on some real nutrition to build your immune system. It does not matter how strong this virus is. It matters how strong your immune system is. It's very important. If your immune system is healthy and strong and reacting properly, you have nothing to fear. Yes, social distancing, absolutely. Don't go in there and say, oh, I'm building my immune system, let's test this. No, don't do that. But do what's good for your body. Get fresh air daily, go for a bit of a walk, get some movement in, get some fresh air. If you have a hard time by now getting through the day, like you've seen everything on Netflix and you're wondering what to do, sit down and think, hey guys, what is it I really like to do? There's a lot of organizations right now online that offer very affordable courses. And it could be in anything. If you wanted to learn how to properly cook or learn something about nutrition, if you want to learn how to draw, there's so much available right now for very reasonable prices. So dive into that. Do something that builds joy inside of you. Spend time with the people in your house, not just a movie night, but maybe games or just talk about something. Game nights are great in our house. I mean, charades and stuff like that have always really helped to get everybody kind of in a different mood. Just force people in your home to interact a bit more than, like I have, we only have the youngest one at home and he's 18 and you really have to drag him out of his room. Or if you disconnect the Wi-Fi, then they will show up. So sometimes I just do that to see who's still in the building, and force them to spend some time with us because it's important. It's a great opportunity. So a lot of people feel like they're very disconnected at the moment. They would love to be out there with friends, although it's not allowed, right? We've had some creative ideas. Zoom is a great tool. I've used it for years for my studies, but it's accessible to anybody. You can have a free Zoom account, and I think it's 45 minutes that you can do for free. So ask your girlfriends to all set up a Zoom account and then get together. Like, let's say tonight at 8, we're all going to be like, invite everybody to the one Zoom account and just have a great time. Or if your kids are not living at home, invite everybody to the same account and get together. You can even have a dinner party with your friends that you would normally go to dinner with once a week. You can actually, you cook, they cook, and to Zoom you get together and have a meal together. You can make it work in a good way. So right now, looking at COVID-19, I just wanted to give you a few tools. What can I do for my immune system right now? I'm a true believer in real nutrition, real vitamins and minerals, not the dead stuff that you buy in your pharmacy, the higher quality items that are derived from real nutrition, because that really builds you. But, right now, some people are just limited to accessing that. So if you have any of this laying around in the home, if you have vitamin D, it really improves your immune response. So take 1,000 to 4,000 daily units. Zinc really improves the immune cell development. You can take up to 30 milligrams a day. Don't go over that because then it depletes at another end. So I don't really want for you to do that. But you can take up to 30 milligrams a day safely without having had a blood test. Elderberry syrup. We sell a lot of it in our clinic. I'm absolutely fine if you take elderberry syrup if you don't have any COVID symptoms, if you don't have the flu. If you would get COVID-19 or the flu, please stop taking elderberry syrup because it will cause a cytokine storm in your body. So basically what's beforehand good for you to prevent something will feed the progress of this type of flu. So if you don't have any symptoms, feel free to use it. It's a fantastic way to protect yourself. It's antibacterial, antiviral. I'm a huge believer in medicinal mushrooms, like not so much the ones you would make your tea off of that would get you high and whatever. That has its purpose as well, but I'm not sure if your COVID staying at home time is the best scenario for that. But mushrooms like cordyceps, lion's mane, maitake, reishi, those are amazing for immune system building. Many of them are actually even cancer preventative. And I add them to my smoothie every morning. And if you have any of that laying around, please take it right now, just to, as a preventative. Astragalus, selenium, garlic, licorice, andrographis are all great tools to use right now. They will really help you build your immune system. B complex vitamins, B is super important. So if you have a B complex still on the shelf, take it. Curcumin, curcumin, I use it in anything. I use it while I'm cooking. I use it in my smoothies. I actually, for sleeping, I often use a milk in the evening and I add curcumin to it. If you have echinacea laying around, take it right now. And a product that I am a huge fan of is bee propolis. I started using it 2 years ago. People who are really depleted, let's say if you would go through chemotherapy, anything like that, and you want to build your immunity, you want to build your endurance a bit, bee propolis is a great product to use for that. So now we're actually getting to the energy medicine part. Well, I have to say the nutritional support, that's also energy. So what is energy medicine? And most people have actually already dealt with it without knowing. Homeopathy is frequency medicine. The frequencies of plants have been translated into a liquid. And a lot of people, if they've used homeopathy, they often have these little white sugar pills is what you get. They are actually coated in a liquid homeopathic remedy. And so we consider that frequency medicine. Bach flower essences, I use them a lot in my clinic. It helps people with emotional blockages, or if you're too open emotionally, let's say you're very anxious, anything like that, or you have fear, you can use Bach flower essences rescue remedy, for example. I even use it for the pets. Let's say it's New Year's, fireworks is coming. You can use it for yourself. You can use it for your pet. Great products. All types of herbs. Live herbs have a frequency. Dried herbs, made into capsules, they have frequencies. And it's actually proven that synthetic herbs barely have any frequencies. And capsules made from live herbs, they have a frequency between, I believe, 15 and 20 hertz. So they are actually building for your body and they actually add on to you feeling better. Biofeedback, I work a lot with biofeedback and I'll explain a lot about it today, is energy medicine. And nutrition. Nutrition is actually energy medicine. Anything that you eat that is what we consider live, like your banana, your apple, your lettuce, your potato, that's frequency medicine. You nurture your body with nutritional frequencies. There's other energy modalities. Reiki, therapeutic touch, quantum touch, acupuncture is a very popular, it's getting more and more popular now. It's energy medicine. You stimulate the meridians from one point to another. So the frequency goes from one point and tries to remove a blockage somewhere else. Craniosacral, emotional freedom techniques, and quantum biofeedback again. Quantum biofeedback works on a body, mind, and spirit level. So it's not just in your body, but it can also work on the aura outside of your body. So can you change your life with frequencies? Well, absolutely. We are energetic beings. We are 80% water. Water has a frequency. We are walking vibrations. You have your own very unique vibration, which is created by the day and the time you were born and the location where you were born, the name that you were given. So even twins, they will not have the exact same name and they will not be born on the exact same time. So they are still very unique frequency wise. So I added some extra information here because I always like to read something when I follow a presentation. So I'm not going to read all this to you, but I know it's kind of an interesting thing to go through. So what is biofeedback? Well, biofeedback, my initial introduction to biofeedback was with a machine that I actually have and work with. As a biofeedback specialist. It is a machine and a laptop, and the client will have a head harness like the lady in the picture there. She has a purple bandana around her head, but it's a head harness. She has 2 rubber strips around her wrists, and you can't see her ankles, but she will also have 2 around her ankles. So we call that a harness. So it's a 5-point way for the biofeedback system to read your energetic body. So it includes diagnostic, as in, let's say your liver. Every liver has the same frequency. Like there's a standard frequency for a healthy liver. So this biofeedback system has that standard frequency. And at the beginning of every session, we do a 3-minute test on your body, see what resonates and see what doesn't. So we send this standard frequency into your body, and your body's going to speak back and it's going to say, hey, my liver doesn't look exactly like that. My liver looks a bit different. And then followed by that, I might get a message that the toxins that you sent into my body, as in the average body should have this level of toxins. My level of toxins are higher around the liver. And so that gives me some information about your liver. Hey, your liver has higher toxicity, it appears. At the same time, this system will also stimulate your body to look like the liver I initially showed the body. Like, hey, this is what the best looking liver looks like. Maybe you should adapt a little bit. And your body will be like, well, yeah, I don't look like that. And then subconsciously, it will stimulate itself to create a cleaner liver. So over time, organs will change, detox, start to look different. You'll feel better. It's a whole process, but it's subtle changes that you will feel and notice. It's an energetic check, biofeedback. It's a full body check, and the higher stressors will be revealed on my end. You might think that your sinus infection is a real problem and it is really annoying, but it might actually be caused by something not directly related to the sinus. You might have a mold toxicity in your body that's actually in your lungs, but your sinus might be overreacting to it all. So we might have to deal with the lungs first before we can clean up your sinus. And this tool will actually help us to figure that out. So how does biofeedback work? Well, it's a resonance in the process which the field of a particular frequency or wavelength can transfer vibrational energy from one energy object to another. So the biofeedback box sends what has been designed as or accepted as the neutral, good, best frequency into your body, and your body's going to talk back and say, oh, mine looks like that, or it doesn't look like that, or I've never seen this before. Like I do get that as well, of course. We check for, let's say, parasites, and the body's like, I've never seen this before, which would be great news. Frequencies are all around us. Your thoughts, and especially negative and positive thoughts, can be really, really strong frequencies for your health. If you are a very negative person, most likely you will not have fantastic health. Most likely you will have all kinds of health issues. If you would be a very positive thinking person and you live in a really positive environment, most likely any health issues that would affect other people. So let's say last year's flu virus that got half of the family down. If your immune system is strong, and which also includes your emotions, your thoughts, then that will most likely not affect you. So something you can do at home right now for yourself is tapping into the human resonance, and especially Earth's Om. It will really help to ground your body. So it's a 7.83 hertz human resonance. It's a super deep binaural beat. You go onto YouTube and you just Google this. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're cooking or if you're just meditating or if you're reading a book. If you play this in the background, your cells are listening. And your cells are all adapting to Earth's energy, grounding. There was a group of astronauts that they sent into orbit, basically, where they lost the connection with Earth, so also Earth's grounding energies. And for years, they would take medication every day to help with space sickness. However, a few of them decided to start with this project to listen to 7.83 hertz when they would feel like this. And it ended up that within 2 days, they would play this constantly for everybody to hear, and nobody got space sickness. So initially, not everybody was on board, but after 2 days, everybody was on board, everybody was listening to this, and everybody was grounded, felt the grounding of the earth. So very powerful. I would, and another thing that, like another tool that I love to use would be solfeggio frequencies. Go onto YouTube, look for solfeggio frequencies. There are 9 at the moment that are very important. For example, 528 hertz is to balance your DNA and to create miracles. Well, how great would it be if everybody in their home right now would play that worldwide? And if we get this very positive frequency going, this might actually, get everybody a little bit more positive considering the circumstances. And just, we might all together be able to change something around.
Hey, Annette, could you pop into the chat room and just put the name of that into the chat room for people so that they can Google that?
Right. Let me see. Is that question and answer or?
Chat window, there should be a little chat box there.
Okay.
See it?
Oh, wait, there. Now to figure out how to write here.
You're going to spell it for me and I'll do it. How do you spell it?
SOL.
Yeah.
FE.
Yeah.
GGIO. Solfeggio frequencies. And 528 is one of the most popular ones there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So there we go. So your DNA is actually a quantum instrument. It is a biological antenna. So that's why it is so important to use everything in your environment to boost your DNA as good as you can. So lifestyle, nutrition, positive thinking, anything like that. So play these solfeggio tones, the Schumann wave, anything to get these cells to vibrate at their best level. If you get to that point, then disease will not get a hold because you have happy, healthy cells that divide into happy, healthy cells. So So meditation would be a part of this to keep yourselves happy, and we call it humming often. Keep your DNA happy and humming is very important. And if you can do that, then you're so far ahead. Like your ATP in your cells is your energy currency. So if your ATP is working optimal, you have the energy that you need. If your ATP, so in your mitochondria, it's a part of your what we call Krebs cycle, where your ATP is created in the mitochondria. If the ATP is off, you will feel depleted, tired. Let's say chronic fatigue due to viruses and bacteria will affect the ATP. Heavy metal toxicity mold toxicity, allergies, poor nutrition. And it's one of the first steps in the Krebs cycle. So if that is already off, there's like 24 more steps that don't complete properly, and your health will slowly get unbalanced and you get to a state of illness. So you can choose to help your DNA, you can choose to help your ATP in very simple ways. So I spoke about it before, that water holds a frequency. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Emoto. So he states that human consciousness has an effect on the molecular structure of water. So Dr. Emoto did some tests. He had water that he would just beam love into it, and happiness and anything positive. And he had water that he would put all kinds of negative thoughts, like let's say he would scream at it and he would be angry at it. And then they did a test, and it looked like snowflakes what came out. Like anything he sent love to was like beautiful build up snowflakes, and anything he was negative to, it just looked ugly. It just looked like something you would not want to put in your body. And then he said, you know what, guys, water molecules have memory and they can absorb your energy. So 80% of your body is water and fluid, 20% is stuff, and stuff is made up of crystalline matrix, so like your tissue and things like that. So your 80% is an antenna, is an antenna for good health, for energy, for vibration. And the 80% is what I work with biofeedback, to stimulate that in a positive way. So your DNA is a quantum antenna. It's picking up frequencies around you, so try to stimulate them with positive. If you have a negative person around you all day, yeah, you notice at the end of the day that that's draining. So a positive person around you, that builds you up. So that's already a sign. Your DNA picks up on that. You can absolutely program your DNA, positive affirmations, homeopathy, resonance biofeedback, sound vibrations around you, what you read, what you think, what you say, what you experience. If you let fear take over right now, that all affects how healthy you are and how healthy your immune system is. So how in the world does my system work? Well, Catherine, you had experience with my long distance system. So would you mind sharing some of your experience?
Sure, no problem. So interesting. I was talking with Annette, and of course I wanted to be able to experience what she was doing. And so she said, sure, no problem. She said, so, take a picture of yourself, do a 20-second, voice recording, send it to me, and then she'll plug it into her system. And I thought, okay, this is really cool. So she did. And just so that everybody knows on the phone, I've only met Annette about 3 weeks ago. And so she knows nothing about me. And it was very interesting to me, the stuff that she came back with when she was, after she put myself into the system and she started to do the analysis, she was texting me and said, hey, did you know you got this going on, that going on? And I will tell you, there was a couple things that made my mouth drop to the floor. And so very interesting to me, because there are things, and I've been a person that has worked on myself countless years over the years. I'm like everybody else. There's emotions and things that happen when you were younger, or this, that, and the other thing that, impacts you. And so it was quite interesting to me that Annette was still able to pick up on some of those things that I thought, were gone or under control. And so it was very interesting to me. And so it was one of the key things that she picked up on, I did not know about, but then kind of put the pieces together. And it was very interesting because as I played, she sent me a download of hertz to play, to do the healing, the inner healing. And I'm going to tell you, it was amazing, to the point where the day after I reached out to her and I just said, with every energy healing that I've had before, work that you do, energy work you do on yourself, there's always a shift, right? Because you're releasing old patterns and then new things are coming up for healing, and or you're making space in your physical body for new things as well. So all of a sudden your body and your ego mind are going, whoa, wait a minute, I've got all this space right here that was taken up by this, now it's gone. So lots of stuff can happen. And it was interesting for me, I was very much aware, reached out to Annette and said, okay, I did it 6 times yesterday. I know I was a little overzealous. But for me, it's like, get the garbage out, right? I want to move on with life and be the best that I can be. So I did it 6 times that day, and boy, did it ever kick me in the pants. So again, a lot of things were moving. So a lot of emotion was coming up, a lot of old things coming up, old things that I thought that were long gone. So I reached out to Annette and just said, hey, normally when I do energy work, it's pretty normal to have some things happen the next day, but is it normal, in this instance as well? And of course, she told me what I already knew, but I will tell you, boy, did it ever move. A lot of stagnant, stale energy that was still there, and trapped emotions and trauma as well. And so that was a week ago. And it was interesting because, of course, everyone's dealing with the emotions and energy of COVID-19. Everyone is. We are human beings and we're vibrating together. And regardless if you think that you're okay and that you've kind of got your, I always say your poop in a group, guess what? You're going to have days where you're still not going to feel well because you're picking up on the energy of other people in your house, or you're picking up on the energy of other people, even through the phone you can. And so that day was a very heavy day for me, that the day that we actually did this. And then I'll tell you, a week ago, I look at my picture this morning. I did a quick picture this morning versus the picture that I'd sent to Annette a week ago. And you can even tell the difference in my physical appearance, right? And you feel differently because there's certain triggers that used to trigger me. And I was very aware of those triggers. And this week, those same things, I did an aha moment yesterday and I went, oh, wow, that's awesome. That didn't trigger me. And it was something that I had been constantly working on that was triggering me. But then when I this past week, just doing, the work that Annette had sent me, I'll tell you, I've seen a huge difference in just my own self. So thank you.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in your case, and often I see this in people who did a lot of work on themselves already. In your case, what it really picked up was your subconscious mind, what was still stuck in your subconscious. So that's what it really decided to deal with. So I worked a lot on the emotional plane for you. And those are the frequencies you received on an app on your phone. And so what I do with people in this case, I work on them once a week. They send me a picture, and they send me a voice recording, 20-second voice recording, and the voice recording gets uploaded into my biofeedback system. And it's absolutely amazing how it just, picks you apart. It knows exactly who you are, where you are, what you are. And it comes up with the highest stressors. And after my session, I send my clients those frequencies. So they listen to it. Some people once a day, some people twice a day. Some people want for me to give them a set for anxiety and a set for sleep that they pick out of the lineup. Everybody works differently. But once a week, like your body changes, your emotions change, you work through some stuff. So I do another session and you get another set of frequencies for basically that moment and from that week on out. So it keeps on supporting you in an amazing way. So it scans everything. It scans emotion, it scans organs, it scans vitamins, minerals, diseases, herbs. I think by now we have more than 12,000 energetic frequencies in it that we can send to your body, and your body talks back. So it's absolutely amazing. We have many detox programs. For example, somebody who has decided to go through cancer treatment with allopathic medicine, we will support them with detox, for example, like right after your chemo, you could feel really cruddy for a couple of days. Well, we support them with frequencies. So the body is more stimulated to detox the stuff out of the body, the toxic stuff. And people just feel better, have more energy. So the modalities go together fabulously. So where's this all coming from, right? Einstein and Tesla actually already started this. Einstein discovered his spooky actions at a distance, that actually you can support a cell and change the cell. If you divide a cell from one person, they should be identical. So he kind of removed them, and then he supported one cell, and he was surprised to see that whatever he did to this one cell, although the other cell was not local, attached to it or whatever, he saw the same changes into the other cell. And it's also a very strong belief, and it's coming up more and more, that stuff you carry with you in your life, trauma, emotions, you could actually be carrying that from previous generations. There's a strong example in my world from somebody whose grandmother went to a concentration camp, and all the generations after that have never been able to gain weight because it's an imprint in her DNA, the starvation that her grandmother went through. And then there were also some emotional components to that, to the oppression, that she didn't understand why all the women in the generations back that she could look at, why they would never speak up for themselves. And so we really did some deep work on that with biofeedback. So it goes into your subconscious mind. You don't even say, hey, this is what's bothering me, but it picks up on it and it releases the blockage. And then she felt that she became a totally different person. And over time, all of a sudden, she could gain weight as well. She was always malnourished, although she ate more than any of us. Her body did not really pick up on nutrients well. And it all changed around. So, it's very powerful. It's amazing. So in short, it's quantum biofeedback system. If you would Google just biofeedback, you kind of end up on Google with breathing techniques. So that's not what this is. It's quantum biofeedback. So we measure the frequency of energetic fields and compare those to other frequencies. And from that comparison, we get a number score. So we work with a number score in the biofeedback app that I worked with you, Catherine. Anything under 200 would be chronic to me. So it would be a chronic condition you've had for a good while. Anything above 600 would be something that's kind of alarming right now. It's not your normal. So it's kind of out of balance for you for today, right now, that idea. So what does a session do for you? So we're not allowed to make any medical claims. However, our clients, they feel the shifts and they see the things. We just assist your body to go back to its natural balance. Every body is designed to heal itself. It knows how to do it. However, it doesn't always live in the best circumstances. It might not come in the world with the best circumstances. There might be environmental things bringing it out of balance. We get back again to nutrition, thoughts. It could be anything basically that gets your body off of balance. So with biofeedback, it constantly gets the nudge to recognize where balance should be and to deal with it. So we only kind of recognize disharmony in the body. So we look at disharmony, and the body gets nudged to balance that again. Quantum biofeedback is safe. It's safe for everybody. However, with deep seating issues, you do need a practitioner. It was interesting. When I was in my early 20s, I had a bunch of girlfriends who would go on these juice fasts. They would start on Monday, and they were like, hey, do you want to do a juice fast with us? And I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's do it. And oh my goodness, not even 24 hours into it, like I would have a blasting headache and I would be sick, and I could just not function. And they would do this Monday to Friday, no issue. And I didn't understand why that would be. But then now I know, due to the MTHFR gene mutation, my body was so full of toxins. I started doing this fasting, and my liver would be like, oh, this is a great opportunity to push some of those toxins out. And my kidneys would be like, oh, we don't know what to do with all these toxins, so let's send it back in the blood. And the toxins kept on rotating through my body, making me really, really, really sick. So I know now that I get a lot of people like that in my clinic. They've been everywhere already, but they don't really know what the issue is. So the first thing we need to do is open all the organs before we ever would do any detoxing. So if they would decide to do a beautiful liver cleanse at home this week spontaneously, they would most likely be really, really sick. So we would stimulate the body in the first weeks. So all the organs of elimination, like your liver, your kidney, your colon, that they would do their job properly. And then let's say in the 3rd or 4th weeks, depends on where you're at, we can send in the frequencies of detoxing. So nudge that liver to look like a perfect liver, and slowly pushing some of those toxins out. So for many people who have been chronically ill for quite a while, it is important that you do this with some guidance, but it's with anything, pretty much, I would say. So I would like to share 3 cases, like what my experiences have been. I have way more cases. For my PhD dissertation, I worked on 12 people, and there have been some amazing results in that. This is one of them. So this lady has been a dentist for 35 years. And in the past, I think 8 years maybe, she has become a biological dentist. So she knew that her work was most likely toxic to her body. So she has done cleansing, she shifted into a different direction with a dental clinic, and she was a part of my dissertation research group. So we did 9 sessions, 3 days apart. And in every session, I would support the mitochondria in the body. I would send in detox frequencies. I would work a lot on the mental emotional plane. So her first session was on a Saturday. And Sunday morning, she messaged me and she said, man, my toe hurts. I did not bump it into anything. I don't know what's going on. And the next morning, she sent me this picture. So on the front part of her toe, you see black nail polish. So like, that's not any miracle that came across by what I did. But right underneath there, you see some blackness pushing up. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, would that be heavy metals? So I sent her to a naturopathic doctor in her area that I know. And I said to her, just go in, don't tell her anything, and say, what do you think is happening? And so the naturopathic doctor said, that looks like heavy metals to me. What are you doing? So she explained what I was doing. And so from this point out, this was early January this year. From this point out, it has just been, no, December, it was December. It has been growing out with her toenail. But yeah, that's actually heavy metals that were still stuck somewhere in her body, pushing out through the toenail, because the frequencies were sent to get rid of heavy metals, and that's what the body's doing. The next one was, this is a man, and he's a truck driver, and he was also in my research group. And he had some really strong emotions that day. His truck had broken down, and in this area, if you don't work, you don't get money, right? So that has been very, very frustrating to him. So I was scanning him for our once in 3 day session, and you see all the darkness, like almost black. And so I messaged him and I asked him, like, what in the world is going on? And he said, well, you know what? My truck broke down again and I had an absolute meltdown and I yelled at somebody I shouldn't even be yelling at, but I just had it. And I could see it in his aura because I just scanned his aura close to that episode. So that's the aura you see at the left side. On the right side, I put an aura there the way I like to see them, like bright and clear. So that was a really interesting episode to experience with him. And then this is my youngest client, and she's absolutely adorable. Like, I have a weakness for this little girl. Her family is amazing. She's amazing. From birth, her eyes have been turning inwards. And she is now, I think she's 19 months now. So this must have been approximately at 16 months. And specialist had told her family that what needs to happen now is surgery on both eyes at the same time to see if they can work with the muscles to straighten the eyes. And hopefully from there on out, it might be okay for the rest of her life, or she might need repeated surgeries. Her parents, of course, this scares you. This is a small child, and it's like it's big to do a surgery like that. And so they came to me and they asked me, what do you think you can do? And I said, well, I'm not really sure, but I'm absolutely willing, to see what my system tells me needs to be addressed. And interestingly enough, what needed to be addressed most of all was nutrition. She appeared to have a lot of allergies. And so she had a lot of inflammation in her body that nobody was really aware of. So together with her mom, we tried to, go gluten-free and things like that, which is very complicated, a child this age. Mom was still nursing, so mom needed to follow the special diet as well. So, it was not an overnight little quick change, but we all worked together. And after, I think, approximately 6 or 7 weeks, this is what happened. Her eyes are straight a lot of the time. If she gets tired or early in the morning, they tend to go inward. If she really focuses on something, they tend to go inward. But this is a huge improvement compared to where she came from. And I think it's absolutely amazing if a child can go, without surgery, interventions, or anything like that, to health like this, then, my job's done. It's a blessing to be part of that. So just to give you an idea of what kind of panels I see. So here you see my organ panel. It shows me a bunch of organs. The ones on top are red, so that means there's something out of balance. In this case, there's nothing in green. There's nothing in blue, so there's nothing chronically going on. Lungs are a little agitated. So that would be something that I would send to you, the lungs I would send to you in a frequency in your weekly app to make sure we support those to go back to balance, because apparently they've gone off balance a bit. We look at, this is, for example, for PTSD. We don't just look at what is all going on. We also look at how can we support this. So interestingly enough, for this person, PTSD showed up, and it kind of really would like to be supported by Bach flower essence of rescue remedy. So I can send those frequencies, and the person could actually go to the store and get rescue remedy as well to support the body on top of it all. Cognitive behavior therapy is also indicated as something that would be really functional to bring this back to balance. Infections energetic. This tells me what's going on, what's reactive. So for this person, bacteria were an issue at the point of scanning. Lyme is also in this lineup: parasites, viruses, fungus. And this is actually a panel that I always visit for any of my Lyme disease patients, because often they have these items out of balance, and that's what we need to work on. Mold. Mold toxicity is a huge issue, and a lot of people are absolutely not aware of it. I see more and more teenagers with anxiety, and I see more and more schools that have, for example, Wi-Fi and mold toxicity. And I really believe that there is that combination might trigger some of the anxiety in teenagers. Plus, there's of course high stress. Our teenagers are never in an off mode. When I went to school many years ago, right, Friday afternoon, you said goodbye to your classmates and you would see them again on Monday. At least you had Saturday and Sunday without them. Now it's 24/7 with social media. If somebody wants to bully you, they will bully you 24/7. But I do think that the mold in the buildings and the Wi-Fi in the buildings seem to really affect it. And if Wi-Fi is an issue for a person, it will show up here as well as an EMF agitating the person. So we create libraries. I can create my own libraries that have all kinds of things. And so I do allergy testing here, fertility. So I just see how your body resonates with the standard frequencies, what your body has to say about it. And if something's really out of line, I send you the frequencies basically. So this is the app that you have, Catherine. It's on your phone or on your iPad. Import a code every week with the frequencies I picked out for the client, and we go from there. So what type of sessions are possible? I have so many different clients. I kind of ended up in the Lyme disease world because, well, I had Lyme disease, and but I have clients for diet and weight loss, and interestingly enough, we do a lot of mental emotional work with those people. And then things shift. Stress and anxiety. Well, who's not stressed nowadays? There's so much demand on us. So many women that have anxiety, and Dr. Jenna touched on it yesterday. A lot has to do with our gene mutations. Immune system strengthening. I have so many clients right now that every week I send them all my corona related frequencies, and their body will choose if that will resonate or not. If it doesn't resonate, it does nothing. If it does resonate, it balances this to prevent that the corona bacteria will get hold of your cells. Pain elimination is a very important one. A lot of people live with chronic pain. Lyme disease is always an individual program. It's never standard because no Lyme disease patient is the same. Concussion therapy. I do a lot of brain therapies, concussion therapy. I work with the hockey players, high school teenagers, rugby, basketball, anything. Young adults. I work with a large group of people. Energy stimulation. So many people are exhausted and tired, and we just have to clean up that body and bring them back to balance. Detoxification is basically a huge one. And these are kind of my details.
So Annette, we've got a question here. Is there a therapy for epilepsy?
Yeah, well, actually, I got epilepsy myself in the midst of fighting Lyme disease. All of a sudden, I got epileptic seizures. And so that was actually my real introduction to biofeedback. I knew what they would do, somebody in my condition, I knew what they would do in Europe, but I didn't know anybody who would do this here. I was in such poor state, I could not fly to Europe to stay there and to do treatments there. I could just not travel. I was on the brink of death. And so my husband was like, you know what, we're gonna get that system in, we're gonna get guidance through the internet, excuse me, on how to deal with this. And so I ended up with brain damage. However, with biofeedback and with really a brain training program that I worked with, we managed to bypass all those reactions in my brain. And my brain works perfect. It doesn't work the same as what it did before, which is interesting, but I do have a great brain again. For a long time, I was like a vegetable. So last night, I scanned my brain and I showed my husband where he could see the scar tissue marks in my brain, which is funny because they're still they still show us epileptic seizures, but I don't have seizures anymore because my neurons, they all bypass that part, and then they just made new neural pathways in my brain. And yeah, so that's how we worked around my brain, and that's how my brain was stimulated. Although it couldn't fix the damage that was already done, it did say, okay, I'm going to make it look as close to this as I can. And that's how I ended up with a good functioning brain again. Like it got to the point where I was boiling water, and you could hear the whistle of the kettle, and my husband said, are you going to turn that off? And I was like, what is it? And he's like, it's the kettle. And my brain could not recognize that anymore.
Incredible. That was a great question. Thank you so much, Jessica. All right. Any other questions? We are just a little bit over time, so thank you all for staying here with us. Annette, thank you so much for coming today as well, while we're waiting for some additional questions to come in. Fascinating. And to the group that's on this call, just a couple of things. I shared with Annette last week that I'm happy to do another session down the road. I'm going to continue doing some work with Annette with the biofeedback tool, and I'm happy to share my, the very specifics around what it came up with in the very beginning and then where I am, afterwards. Certainly, I don't mind sharing my story as well. And in addition to that, at some point, Annette and I will also combine thermography and biofeedback so that we can show people the impacts physically that are happening in the body. So we'll scan somebody through thermography and understand what's happening inside their body physiologically, and then using the biofeedback monitors as well, and then be able to show that case study as well so that you can physically see. Most people are very visual, right? So when you can see what visually happens, it's like that little girl, look at those eyes, right? That's just absolutely amazing. So there'll be more to come on this, and I'm so blessed that Annette had showed up on my path as well too.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to share. I love sharing. I had a couple of miracles happening in my life, right? I was supposed to be dead. I actually died, and I came back, and then I said to my husband, if my brain ever functions again, I need to start helping people, because there's a reason why you come back from something like that.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely love what I do, and what I like about what you do as well. You like to research and test stuff. So I know, and I love to do that too. And my husband is a scientist, so he's really encouraging study and research and try things. And yeah, so I absolutely love to see where we can take it, because this is the time for frequency medicine, right? Everybody is at their home and stuck. You can't go and see somebody, but there's still so much that you can do. Like now this can shine. It took many years to get to where it is right now, but this is the time for it to shine.
Absolutely. All right, we don't have any other questions. We do have some comments though. So, oh, that would be so cool. Thank you. And so interesting. Thank you for sharing. So again, everyone on this call today, thank you so much. I do have another call right after this call. So once it's done, I will send out the recording to everybody. You'll receive an email from me. And then of course, Annette's information is at the very end of the presentation. I'll also include it in the email for you. So please feel free to reach out to her. And again, do yourselves a huge favor and sign up for some of this frequency stuff she's doing. It's amazing. So I feel so much better this week than I did last week. So thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.